Hi, everybody, and welcome along to Trader Talk Radio, the original show, the Sunday market analysis show for today, 21st of March, 2021. We've got a great show for you today and a new format. We'll be doing the 5-minute sessions with the guys today or the team today, and each one of those sessions will be cut up and posted separately later on, so you can come back and watch them live on social media in the different time sets if you want to watch individual slots. So thanks, Mike. We'll be underway reasonably soon. My name's Paul Botchell. It's my great pleasure to be with you guys. I'm going to cover for Ainslie later on and do some gold and some oil. So all I'll do today is say that my biases at the moment continue to be long Bitcoin, long oil, and still perhaps just a little bit bearish on the pound. Not as convinced in that as I was over the last few weeks. Look, we're going to go straight to Julian for his macro market overview, and after him we will head to Alexis, who shouldn't be too far away. So first of all, Julian, welcome to the show, and we look forward to your macro market update.
Hey Paul, how are you? And hello everyone, wherever you are in the world. Look, it's great to be part of the slightly new format show, Paul. And I wish I had something fascinating and truly insightful to say this week. What I will say is I'm going to do a tiny mini little look back on the Fed and the Fed announcements and also the post announcement conference that Chairman Powell gave, because I think it's really important and it's going to drive a lot of our thinking going forward over the next couple of years. So he reinforced his relaxed view about inflation, and he also reinforced the point at which he's going to think about raising interest rates, which is a very low rate of unemployment. I believe it was in the 3.5% mark. And if it wasn't in the 3.5% market, I had to hit some diversity targets before he'd even consider it. So I also am very interested in the way in which he expressed his opinion about the growth in the economy as well too, and what he's looking for there and where he feels inflation is going. So the basic Fed thesis right now is that the inflation is going to be a blip and it'll come back down again. Nothing to worry about, according to Chairman Powell. Well, the bond market seems to think slightly differently for that, because soon after the press conference, it shanked again and interest rates continue to rise. So this is a big problem which the Fed chairman has, because the bond market really essentially is the arbiter of the world in terms of what's happening. And so when you look at a 10-year rate and a 2-year rate, you can see a significant difference now. There's about between the 2 and 10s, I believe it's somewhere in the region of something like 150, 160 basis points worth of spread between the two of those. Banks will certainly be happy with that because they can make money, but it's also having that really positive yield curve is a sign that the market is. So I always get my hands the wrong way around. So a positive yield curve is a sign that the market is reasonably well positioned right now, and there's not anybody needs to worry about. Now, that's all very well and good, but a rising interest rate environment, if you like that, we call it a bear steepener in bond land. Bear steepener in bond land normally isn't a great environment for growth stocks. So we'll see what the world's going to bring over the next few weeks. But I think the key message that I took out of it was he has no intention of raising short-term interest rates anytime soon. As a result of that, it wouldn't be a surprise to me if the dollar resumes its decline at some point over the course of the next few weeks. I think as a basic thesis, with a load of caveats as well too. You know, essentially the currencies have done tremendously well over the course of the last 4 or 5 months. They're due a correction, and they're all amazingly overbought. The Aussie's overbought, the CAD's overbought. The euro maybe not so, because it's been correcting sort of for a little while now. But you only have to go and look around the markets and see some of the moves that have been taking place to say that they've actually got quite aggressive. And the same's true of the yen as well too. So the yen in some respects has been wildly has been working the opposite direction by falling quite considerably against the dollar. And so these are some of the core trends that we've got out there. So think sort of like CAD yen and sterling yen. They've been amazing trends. I'm not expecting those to continue. I think we're going to see a little bit of a reversal over the next few weeks. But overall, the long-term view is very much the case that the dollar is either going to be lower than where it is now, or certainly at the same rate in about 5 or 6 months' time. So that's how I view that for the time being. On the back of Chairman Powell's comments. By the way, this is actually quite a departure for the Fed, right? He's essentially turned around and said, we're going to be reactive. We have no way that we're ever going to preempt anything. And we're going to wait till we see the data, and then we'll think about
Sorry, guys,
reacting.
is it just me or have we lost Julian's audio?
Oh, I should be here.
Can everybody else hear Julian? Is it just my end?
Just you, mate.
I can hear him. Looks like I can hear him. Okay, back to you, mate. It was just
That's
me.
all right. So yeah, look, in terms of short-term trends, like I said, I'm looking at some of those interesting cross rates. So sterling yen, CAD yen for short-term corrections. I know they've been trending incredibly well upwards. So bear in mind, you're trying to pick tops. So obviously always use tight stops, but I feel we've gone quite a long way in some of those who might come down. And I'll leave gold and oil to Ainslie and to the other folks who are going to look at those. But one thing I would do is just comment on this. There's a very good reason why you need to run stops in this market, stop losses on your positions, and you only need to look at the oil market last week to prove that that's absolutely the case. I believe it went down something like $4 or $5 in one day, which blew out days and days and days of trading. So this is going to be the way that the world is going to be working, I think, for the next few weeks, possibly even a few months. So we have to be careful out there and obviously make sure we got our stops in place. Paul, that's it from.
Cheers, Julian. Thank you very much. Always nice to get a macro view from you. Thank you very much for joining us today. Have a pleasant evening back there in New Zealand, mate. Rightio, next up we have got Alexis talking fundamentals. Alexis, are you in? There you go. A big week of fundamentals. Alexis, what do you got for us this week? I'm pretty sure I'm right this time, Alexis. Pretty hard to hear you.
Yeah, you're right.
All right. How's this better?
that's way clearer. Yeah.
Yeah. So with one eye on the bond market, and again, I think from last week we were all looking at the possibility of whether or not there will be any interest rates increases. So far, interest rates have remained unchanged. Whether or not it continues to be so, not too sure if that will happen. But what I probably am interested in for something a little bit more, I would say, tradable, would be something coming out next week, which is the Swiss. So on Thursday next week, we have the Swiss. Let me just share my screen and share. All right. The Swiss news coming right up, and it's going to be about its monetary policy assessment. So this is on Forex Factory calendar. And the Swiss has been struggling to capitalize on the recent jitters in the global stock market. So it might continue to underperform. So I'm just going to take a look at the Swiss index in general, and it is at a very interesting place. This is on the daily chart. If I pull out to, let's just say, a weekly chart, again, it is probably at a very interesting level, I would say. It's an area where two things can happen, either up or down. But before diving into that, the Swiss National Bank might actually be further welcoming more declines on the Swiss. And what might trigger that would be the next monetary policy announcement that's coming up on March 25th in another 4 days. So the Swiss is an export-oriented economy, which means if it has a strong local currency, it can have deflationary forces, and it has been struggling to keep its inflation rate up to par. So I am expecting a break of this level. Whether or not it really happens before Thursday, I'm not too sure. But if we just, I think, go down just on the Swiss index, it really is a very interesting place. And I think a lot of traders will be looking for a bounce off this level in terms of technical trading. But what I'd like to do is just take a peek at the Swiss pairs. So we have the Aussie Swiss again. This is the daily time frame. And let me just go to weekly to get a little bit more context. So again, Aussie Swiss, you can see it's kind of testing an area. Whether or not it will break through, that's another question. But the Aussie is still strong against the Swiss, so I am expecting this to be a pause in the market and the upward trend to continue. We have Swiss yen over here, and let me zoom out a little bit. Swiss yen, you can see testing a very, very nice horizontal area. It's bounced off, I think, ever since 2018, once, twice, third, fourth time. It's a whole bunch of consolidation over here. Again, the probability of it breaking up, I feel that would largely be triggered by Thursday's news. If Thursday there is some kind of update on the monetary policy, then I think this level could either fulfill the national bank's target of a weaker Swiss, or it could just break through. So again, we'll see what Thursday brings around. CAD Swiss, zooming out a little bit, not as clear, I would say, but it's I think this is more on CAD strength, so I'm going to give this a miss. Not as clear. Euro Swiss. Again, if I just plop a line around here, you can see it's interesting levels. If we go on a shorter time frame, the daily time frame on the Euro Swiss, this could almost be like a break and retest of this level of one of the EMAs. So again, it really does point out to that a weaker Swiss might be possible. Last couple of pairs, pound Swiss, I would say, again, if we just scroll out very overbought, so there's and it might be a technical flag pattern, I don't know, but it's just the Swiss is at a very interesting level, so I will see what Thursday brings about. And finally, dollar Swiss, again, a consolidation might be another flag pattern again, and again, it points that if it does fulfill the Swiss bank's bias of a weaker Swiss, then we should see a breakout towards the upside. So interested to take a look where the Swissy goes next week, and my bias is short, at least for the medium term, or at least until Thursday, where more the SNB comes up with a bit more clarity in what it wants to do with its interest rates. That's all from me, Paul.
Thank you, Alexis. Wonderful stuff. Thank you very much. I think it's going to be a big few weeks around fundamentals and direction in the market. We look forward to having you back again next Sunday. Thank you very much for that. We're going to go to Ash, and we're going to talk about market direction and what drives market direction. Ash, are you available?
I certainly am, mate. Yeah, I'm right here.
Mate, I wonder if you could help me. Excuse me. I got short on cable a few weeks ago based on COT and seasonals. And one of the things that I tend to do is if I get short because of a reason, I don't exit until that reason changes. Am I still short bias based on COT and seasonals on pound, or has that changed for us this week?
Well, the pound itself is giving very flat kind of indication of more movement. So if you're already in a trade which is going where the trend is starting to establish itself, then the cotton seasonal suggests stick with it. I mean, certainly the COT data suggests stick with it. Because you're trading cable, it makes it a slightly different picture, because obviously then you've got the dollar kind of rolled up in that.
Yep.
The pound itself, I mean, if we look at the commercials with the pound, we can see that they are at the lower end of the percentage bound, so that does suggest selling. And if we bring up the actual the index here, what we're kind of seeing is that the shorts and the longs are both decreasing. So the short sellers are kind of starting to come out, but the longs are also starting to come out as well. So now it really does depend on whether we've got the correct partnership with trading against the dollar. And when I looked at the dollar, in fact, just quickly looking at the seasonal aspect of the pound, it does suggest that there could be a turning point approaching. That's what the seasonals are starting to suggest. There could be a turning point approaching towards the end of March. We start to see a run up right until around about the start of May. But at this stage, the COT data hasn't changed direction yet. So the trend is if you're in a trend, then it's best to stay with it. But when we start to bring it up against the dollar, look at this index. It's just dropped straight off. And what's a bit concerning about this one, where we saw both the buying and the selling coming off with the pound, what we're seeing with the dollar is the buying is coming off and the selling is increasing. So this would start to say, well, if you're in a position with a dollar involved in it, then the stops need to be probably moved at this point and just tighten things up.
So sorry, Ash, that's saying dollar short, right? That there's more shorts coming into the market, there's more longs leaving the market. So Cott's starting to suggest that there's selling coming. The US dollar is going to come under some selling pressure.
Yeah, I mean, it's not at an extreme. So we haven't seen the extreme, but what it's saying is that the movement, if we start focusing on when things start to turn, this could turn into a genuine bear movement, or it could just start turning into some sort of consolidation area. That's what it's suggesting at this particular area. But it is a bit concerning that in the last week we've seen both the buyers and the sellers come out. The buyers come out and the sellers start to come in. And if we were to go back to the pound, then there is a difference in the message. Both the buyers and the sellers are coming off with a pound, which is kind of suggesting that people aren't really sure exactly what to do with a pound. So at that point, you kind of go, okay, well, it might consolidate, but it doesn't look like a trend reversal. So that's fine.
Yeah, look, enough for me on. Thanks very much for this. Enough
No
for me.
problem.
I'll be looking to start and move out of my position based on this. The seasonal's coming to an end. The COT data is not as clear as it was perhaps a couple of weeks ago for me getting into this position, and it's probably time for me to at least start and move a little bit out of it. Yeah, I'll back to you, buddy.
Yeah, well, just because we've been talking about the Swissy, I think this one's a really interesting one in the coming week, or even coming weeks, and potentially with that, we've got a lot of stuff from the Fed this week, and we do, as Alexis says something coming from the S&B. They are in a bit of trouble in Switzerland because they aren't as competitive as they should be, because they are an export nation. They're not anywhere near as competitive as they should be. If you look at the trade balance numbers, they've been really coming down quite significantly. But the interesting thing is obviously the link with gold. Gold could get a boost here. It's struggling to really gain some buying pressure, but it is starting to look like a potential bottoming pattern for a period anyway. And because Switzerland have more gold per capita than any other nation, that will play a part in what could happen with the Swissy. But look at this. The shorts changed. The change from last week, down 74%. The shorts are coming out of the Swissy. And if we bring the COT data up here, what we've got is, and I'll take the net off, look what's happened to the shorts. Yes, the longs are a little bit weak, but the shorts have just, they've catapulted away from selling the Swissy at this particular stage. So that would look and appear to be a possible turning point for a short period with the Swissy. So that would suggest that any short positions with the Swissy aren't anywhere near as protected as they were. So are we potentially looking for some turning points? And I would agree with Alexis. I think that the Aussie Swissy looks like a very interesting pair right now, because we are at a potential topping area. This is a neckline of an inverted head and shoulders. So that neckline would tend to come off a little bit before it would get tested again and possibly then break through. But on first time of asking, will this neckline break through? Looking unlikely when we look at the COT data, and if we bring in the seasonals as well with the Swissy. What we're seeing, again, potential bottoming down here at some point in March. This is the midpoint in March, so we might be slightly beyond that, but it is suggesting a little bit of upside before another dip around about May, June time. And again, bringing that back into trading it against the Aussie. Then where's that gone? Here we go. Trading it against potentially what we'd have against the Aussie as a potential pair. Look at the Aussie down very, very low in the COT percentage terms, which that is indicative of a sell that is starting to accumulate some pressure. So I agree with Alexis on a potential short on Aussie Swiss, and I agree with Jules on a potential turning point with the Aussie. That Aussie has seen some strength, but this is suggesting that strength is possibly going to start to recede relatively soon. So could have to wait until that Swiss National Bank announcement before you get a genuine break and a genuine clear fundamental picture. But it certainly suggests that any sell signals in the Aussie Swiss and maybe some of the other pairs versus the Swissy might well be worth taking a bite at.
Cheers, Ash. Thank you very much for that. Much appreciated. Is that you for today?
Yes, it is, mate. Yeah.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. Great, interesting stuff. It's nice when we see the different experts coming together and starting to create a clear picture for us on things like the Aussie and the Swiss. With Ainslie away today, I'm going to jump in and share some screen, and I'm going to talk. I'm going to talk gold. And look, I really like the gold chart at the moment. I think I said as often with gold, at a fascinating place. Look, I think there'll be a lot of people who'll be very interested in this bar here, and the trend line runs down off the top through here. It's only a sort of mini trend line, but it runs off the top. It'll come through that point there. Then it'll get down into this bar here. So that trend line runs through around there. And look, the failure to close above it would suggest that right now we're still reasonably bearish. And really, for a lot of people to get long here, they'd want a close above this trend line. And I think as well, you've got the 50-day moving average sitting in there as well. So you've got the 50-day moving average providing resistance and this trend line providing resistance. And for a lot of people, the action will be around this area here and this horizontal level. And again, it's a pretty significant recent horizontal level. We saw it be, major resistance there, come back and support here, support here, support here. This level has had a little bit of work. And I do expect we'll see price get up and have a bit of a look at it during the week this week. But strangely, I guess for me, these are not the major areas for me. Geoff will be watching this, and he will be going, well, look, as long as price sits between weekly and monthly pivot, it has a tendency to range. And here's our weekly pivot. Here's our monthly pivot. This weekly pivot will adjust a little bit. It'll come up around this level here, I would have thought, and tighten this range up. And I'll just take the rest of this stuff off, actually. As long as we are sitting in between weekly and monthly pivot, I will be looking for range behavior. And once we break out of that, I will be looking for, excuse me, guys. I'll be looking for a break below weekly pivot to get short. If I get a break below the weekly pivot, I'm happy to get short, and a break above monthly pivot, I'm looking to get long. And really in between, I'm looking to just take my time and stay out of this for now. I will see if I have got... I'm sorry, I've changed accounts. I can't do the reset of the weekly pivot here on this chart, but I'd expect it to come up around this area here. And as I say, as long as we're above it and below the monthly pivot, I am biased sideways. A close below the new weekly pivot, and I'll be looking to get short, and a close above the monthly pivot, and I'll be a little bit interested in getting long. Rightio, that is gold for me. Solely a technical picture for me this time, and look, that has been a good sell-off. Actually, it would be really interesting to go back through and have a look at the some of the past recordings of the show. I'm pretty sure that when price was up in this area here, Julian talked about gold getting down under 1800 and even down into the 1600s. And to be honest, at the time, I thought, my God, that's just not going to happen. But he is always right. And I wouldn't mind going back and having a look at the tapes. I think he mentioned 1680. It's just from memory. But he did mention that, if it did go, that it could go a long way. And it certainly has. And for mine, really for gold, as far as a bullish picture, I'll remain a long-term gold bull. And what I'd like to see is a picture that gets me long. And certainly this breaker monthly pivot. But even if we've got this breaker weekly pivot, double bottom, high, low, we're looking for some kind of pattern to convince me that I need to get long. For now, I'll hold on to a short bias until I see it. Rightio, next up for me, I will check the questions in a second. They've opened up behind the screen as always. Shukri, long couple of days for you, mate. Lots of crypto genius going on the last few days. Listen to a bit of that kind of stuff. Great session there, mate. I thought that the parts I listened to, that was the best session I've seen you give, mate. I thought it was brilliant. So thanks for turning up and finding some time for us today. Sure. Let's do our 5 minutes on crypto, Shukri.
Yes. Okay, let's look at crypto. News has come out today. The Coinbase listing has been delayed to April. So Bitcoin is testing the support line. Ethereum is testing the support line. It may break, but we don't know that for sure. Now, the good thing about the Coinbase IPO being delayed next month, you know what? I now know when the crypto markets are going to get bullish again. I think the listing is going to push it up because I think that this Coinbase is going to do very well. So what do we do now? Not interested in Bitcoin, not interested in Ethereum. I tell you what I'm interested in. Polkadot and Kusama, more so Kusama. Okay, so this is something that Geoff bought at 130. Where's Geoff? Oh my God, Geoff is way down here. I don't even see Geoff anymore, guys. Okay, where do I buy this? And I'll tell you where I buy. I want to buy along this line here, okay, along this line. Why would I like to buy Kusama at this high place? Again, guys, I am buying Kusama and then I am staking it and I am going to get a reward or airdrop of what token? I'll show you what token, okay? Show you here. Let's look at DeFi demo day. These tokens are going to be listed very soon and they're going to give an airdrop of their tokens. Akala. Akala is going to be on Polkadot. Not interested there, but there is a version of Akala called Karura. It's a kind of bird. I don't know where the bird is from. New Zealand or Japanese bird. Karura, K-A-R. You put in, you stake your Kusama, you get Karura. This is a hot project. This is from New Zealand, Paul. This Akala Karura is the DeFi hub of Kusama. That's huge, of Polkadot, sorry. Next one, Moonbeam. Moonbeam brings Ethereum onto Polkadot. Look, guys, they are bringing Balancer and SushiSwap. SushiSwap is owned by Sam Beckman-Fried. That's huge. Moonbeam is going to be on Polkadot, but the other version of Moonbeam called Moon River is going to be on Kusama. So we're going to stake Kusama, we're going to get here, we're going to get Moon River, and we're going to get Karura here. And that's what it is for today. So it shows you, even when everything is going down, if you look carefully, there's always something to do in crypto. That's just the way it is.
Cheers, Sukri. Thank you very much, mate. And great to say, great effort over the weekend, mate. Long period of time. I'm sure the people who are in there loved it as well, mate. I was driving back and had it on the on my phone, on the headset while I was coming back, and I thought it was absolutely brilliant. So thank you for that.
Thanks.
We will see you back next week as well. And
Yep.
I am now going to share screen again, and I am going to talk a little bit of oil before we go to Lloyd and Geoff today. Look, it is an interesting time in the market, and one of the things that was weird about gold was that we didn't really get a massive reaction to the Fed like we did on a lot of different things. Oil, on the other hand, well, we did. And as Julian was talking about this big selling day, look at, here's the move up, test of the 23.6 fib level and this horizontal level. And again, when we have a look at this horizontal level here, it hasn't been in play for a long time, but when you get back a little bit, it starts to look pretty interesting. You know, that's a pretty solid level. Got a fair chunk of work in here. Got a fair chunk of work in here. I love levels like this, you know, clear support, clear resistance, you know, no question about its impact on price over a period of time. So, you know, oil came back and tested the level, had a look at this 23.6 fib retracement. I'm not a big user of fib retracements, but, you know, for now, my outlook on oil remains long. And it's a similar type of thing for me. It's always, for me, really about levels. And I'll be bullish. I'm looking for, and you guys will know that I talk a lot about this chart pattern. You know, a reasonably large decisive bar down, and then a decisive inside bar towards the halfway point of that bar. That's a pattern that, and a lot of charts for me, will very quickly head back to the other end of this bar, and I'm expecting to see that Monday, Tuesday. It's not a pattern. It's not like all patterns. It's not 100% pattern, but this is a pattern that I look out for, and I'll be more than happy to add to my longs. And look, my current longs and oils were just down around below this level here, so my stop losses weren't taken out. I took a little bit of money off around here, but you know, again, we'll be staying long. If I'd been around on Friday, I think I would have bought. I was driving on Friday, couldn't do it, but I thought this was a pretty good chance to have a look long. For mine, we get below 61.24 with a close on a 4-hourly chart, and my opinion on this changes, and I'm starting to look for a leg down, perhaps a breakdown, a retest, and another little step down here. But that would take a 4-hour close below 61.24, maybe even 61.20 to really convince me that I needed to get short. I'll stay long biased until then. Again, I'll be very aware that we do have a little bit of resistance at the level we bounced from. and obviously there's another level down around here, which has also got a little bit of resistance there. And I'll be looking for some decisions around there for me, possibly taking a little bit more position size off if we get up there. And again, if we got down below this level, that's the point where I would say that I'm wrong. Now, again, on this trade, I got in based on a chart pattern, and a change in chart pattern would get me out. The thing that gets me in is the thing that gets me out. I'm not too concerned about cotton seasonals on this because they didn't get me in. Although, again, I do know that I'm in a very bullish seasonal run on oil, but that's not what got me in. So what got me in was this move up here, the breakout. And close below here, and I'll start to believe that breakout might be over, and I'll get out. And otherwise, I'll hold on. Look, take a little bit more money around this level here, and then look for a break and another move up. I'm a round numbers kind of guy. I have a feeling we'll see oil around $100 into the year, Bitcoin around 100,000. Not so sure on gold at the moment, but I'll hold my long positions where possible in this run. That is and you know, when you see a bar like that, and look, we've got, you know, bearish bar, bearish bar, bearish bar, bearish bar, big bearish bar, and it looks really bearish. But when you look at this move here, it just looks to me like it's absolutely in need of a pullback. And if we've got that pullback and there's money coming back into the market here, 23.6 is a short pullback. And a pullback to the 23.6 on the 20-day moving average is about what I would expect in a move as big as this. If that move is to continue upwards, I would suggest we're probably, I don't have it on there, but around the 20-day moving average on this as well. So I will stay long on oil. Again, under 61.24 for me would start to concern me a lot more in that position. Lloyd, if we could have you in on currency strength. And a lot of people talk about the dollar index, and it's one of the things we don't have on MT4. People go ask me for, and it's really important. What you're going to talk about is each of the currencies index, right?
Hi, Paul. Yep. Yeah, I am.
Hey, mate.
Okay, so let's have a look at the currency indexes and the dollar. Let's see what it has for us this week.
Cheers. Thank you.
Okay, so for this upcoming week, I'm still going to be bullish on CAD. If you look at the weekly chart on CAD, it doesn't really look like a nice price action. But if I go to the daily time frame, actually I pretty like it. I have a really nice rejection bar that's rejecting off 80. Yeah. So upcoming on Monday it hits, I'll probably be placing a trade on CAD to see if I can get long from here. Yeah. So to me, this is a very nice rejection. So let's go back on yen. Yeah. So yen from last week actually expected to be bearish, but it actually went on a short-term buying spree for this week. Yeah, probably due to this horizontal level. So let's have a look at the daily time frame. Yeah. So it did indeed actually touch the 91 and then went up briefly. Yeah. So I suspect whenever this is the case and there's a horizontal level nearby there, I would be suspecting that yen or any currency might be actually going on a retracement, which means that it's a bargain buy for me, which I can actually get in somewhere somehow. Yeah. So overall outlook for yen is still short. Yeah, I'm not going to go extremely bullish on it, but yen, there's a high chance that I think it might go on a retracement for the upcoming week ahead. Dollar index, yeah. So for the DXY, this has been troubling me. Yeah. If you look at the daily chart for the dollar index this week, yeah, you can see that price is pretty much ranging. Yeah, so it's actually not going anywhere. And when we look at the weekly chart, there's a very huge horizontal level back from all the way September last year till now. Price doesn't seem to break it. Yeah, it has attempted twice already. In fact, yeah, and the second time give us a lower high. Yeah, so for now, for the dollar index or USD pair, I'm going to be very careful. Monday is going to determine whether I'm going to long it or short it. Yeah, for now, price according to price action is showing us that you actually break lower. Yeah, so let me get rid of this. But we have to be mindful of the big picture is that price seems to be ranging as of now. Yeah. So whenever price is ranging, let's not get into it until it gives us a very clear idea where it wants to go. Yeah. So I'm just waiting for price to actually break above the horizontal level or just break the box, and then I will actually be prepared to go short. Yeah. So that's DXY on the upcoming week. Aussie, Kiwi, both of this chart is still ranging on a weekly. I think for range trader, they're going to be happy about it. Yeah, so you can see that both Aussie and Kiwi is just ranging. It's not really going anywhere soon. Now, pound is also another interesting chart for us. You can see that for 3 weeks, actually 4 weeks, 5 weeks, it just refused to go above 140. Yeah, so when you look at the daily chart, this is what happens. You see that it goes 140, reject, force break. So now we have this scenario that price may be potentially ranging for pound. Yeah, so again, repeating myself is that for price that you see that is clear cut, that is ranging, then just let's not touch it until price breaks. Yeah, so it can actually breaks above 140, then I'll be happily going long. If it actually breaks for the current box is below 138, then I'll be happily going short. Yeah, that means it's a rejection of this horizontal level. Now, euro on the weekly chart, you can see that price breaks below 120, come back for a retest, very nice retest on the daily chart. This is why we have it over here. So on Monday, if euro we have on a Monday, if we have a bearish bar, then I'll be happily jumping in short for euro. And the last on my list is actually Swiss. So on the weekly chart, very nice rejection bar on Swiss of 108 level. Yeah, so on the daily chart, you can see that price is dancing about this level. So again, back on Monday, if I have a bearish bar, I'll still be happily jumping in short. Yeah. But if I have a bullish bar, then I might be holding back my trades and see where does it really give me a higher low, then I will reconsider it. So now, according to last week, I actually wanted to go CAD Yen long. I didn't have a trading opportunity for CAD Yen long. This is what price does on the forward chart. So you can see that just ranges, breaks up, come back down again. Yeah. So I didn't really have an entry opportunity. Now Euro USD for last week is actually interesting for me. I actually get in twice, short twice. Yeah. Let me get rid of these lines. Actually, very nice rejection bar. I got in, had a TP1 price come back again, and that I actually have a divergence here. Yeah, you can see this is bearish divergence. I actually got in short again, yet to TP1, so I'm still hanging on to this trade. Doesn't seem to be going anywhere, so we'll see how it goes in the upcoming week. Now, for the coming week ahead, there are two pairs which I'll be keeping a lookout for. One is CAD Swiss. So I'm waiting for price to actually just come back and retest this horizontal level before it shoots up. Yeah. So for this case, my TP1 will actually be at the top of the range, and the second pair will actually be Euro Yen. Yeah. So what I'm waiting for is either for price to retrace back to this level, which is the significant high, or for price to actually break the horizontal level, retest, and then I'll go short. Yeah. So these are the two pairs that I'll be keeping a lookout for: CAD Swiss long and Euro Yen short. So that's all.
Cheers, Lloyd. Thanks for the currency index update. So it was CAD Yen short? CAD and Yen short?
CAD Swiss long.
CAD Swiss long. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much.
Euro Yen short.
We'll keep an eye for that Euro Yen short. We'll keep an eye for that during the week. Thank you very much, Lloyd. We'll see you back next week. So next up for us today on the 21st of March is our master technician, Geoff. Geoff coming in to do the technician's 2 cents for the week of the 21st of March. Geoff, what are you looking at this week?
G'day, PB. G'day, everyone. Got a couple of things that are interesting and probably counterintuitive to a lot of stuff that we've spoken about already today. I have a strong opinion that we've got an Aussie dollar that's underrated, frankly. Yeah, I agree. It's overbought in a technical sense, but I also think that we've got a little bit more to go with the Aussie, and I'll probably get to that when I talk Aussie dollar. But the one I see at the moment is Aussie Kiwi. And the news on the Aussie, and I didn't hear any analysis from a fundamental point of view on what the unemployment rate meant on the Aussie, but it was a bit of a shock, to be honest, to economists who were expecting, I think, 1% or 0.1 of a percentage point improvement in the unemployment rate, and they got something like 0.5. Interesting that the Aussie hasn't really performed on the back of that, but from a technical perspective, what I see is a bit of a, I guess, turning point. Let's put it that way. Inflection point, I think, is the best known term in the trading world. Aussie Kiwi is the first that I'm looking at. And Aussie Kiwi to me looks like it did form a base. It did put in higher high, higher low. Then it went into a range. This is a classic ranging pair, of course. And what I see right now is the most current range that we're in on a daily basis is the one that we've just poked our head above and come back and retested with a rejection bar. So we didn't really like it below the top of this range. And I'm considering very, very much, if there's no major gap in the morning, putting a long above this bar here. This is the daily chart. I'll have to see where the weekly pivot goes. And I know I could have done that, but it's probably going to go to here somewhere. So the stop loss can go underneath that bar, I believe, if the weekly pivot is above there. And I think that would be reasonable. Risky, high risk, because you're trading straight into resistance. But that's my attitude on Aussie Kiwi going into the new week. We'll see how that pounds out. Of course, if we get back underneath this range, then I'll be looking for a lower high to go range bound. Aussie Dollar is the one that I'm pretty keen on, to be frank. And the reason for that is I'm following this quite clearly. Big double bottom sitting there on the monthly chart. And we've got phase one, we've got phase two, we've gone into consolidation there. I'm looking for a third phase up here. And I really think that we can challenge the 81 mark or 81 cent mark. So I'm focused on that right now. We are in consolidation without question on the monthly chart. It's a bit of a mess on the weekly chart. On the daily chart, it's even more of a mess, where you could argue that we've got a head and shoulders formation there, and I would concur with that. I don't have a problem with that. What I do have in the back of my mind, however, is this little pattern here that I love. Little inside bar, big buying bar, and then a rejection of a level. My contention would be that if price is willing to go back to here, then it's going to challenge this level. So I've got an opinion that if we were to put an entry here above this bar and maybe put our stops below the swing, then we could probably catch that move up to that level. Even if it puts in a double top, it doesn't really matter. We can put in, we can actually bank something there. If, of course, it goes with momentum and that rejection bar, then price just falls away and it doesn't matter. I think there's probably going to be a far better entry than that, to be honest. And I'll be looking for that very, very closely on Monday, Tuesday, going into the week. This formation here is really telling me that we have got an upside coming. In particular, these two bars. Yes, we've had a pretty steep retracement on Thursday and Friday, only as far as the weekly pivot, which has been a solid base, as you can see. So I'm a little bit bullish Aussie US dollar, and I think the US dollar's at a tilt point. It's either going up there or it's going down there. Okay, that's genius at work, and technically it's not really sound. I understand that. Aussie CAD. Now, Aussie CAD, let me flip the coin the other way. I think the CAD is a very, very strong currency at the moment, not least because oil is just going nuts and probably will do a little bit more than that. So it's going to carry the CAD with it. The inflection point that we're at the moment, in my opinion, is pretty clear also. But I do see there's not really three black crows, because the strong pattern in three black crows is little bar, bigger bar, bigger bar. And I'm not actually seeing that. So this is a potential rejection of this level, this horizontal level, about 97, around about the 97 mark. Yet I can, when I drill down a little bit, see phase one, phase two, phase three-ish, and then a big rejection bar of that weekly pivot from last week. So the potential here, and a close below that horizontal level here. So that's really interesting to me. I'll be looking at this very, very closely again on Monday and Tuesday. You can see that doji bar that was put in on Friday, and it's kind of depleted my my courage, if you like, because that's a beautiful bar for me. If I was trading this on Friday, I most certainly would have placed an order underneath it. But it's still there. And tomorrow, if I find that that is the case and we haven't got a big gap in the market, I'll be very, very closely watching at this for Aussie CAD short. Now, I know that kind of goes against what I've just been saying, but I think the CAD is a very, very strong commodity at the moment. And I wouldn't want it. It's overbought maybe, but I certainly wouldn't want to be selling it. That's for sure. And the final one is Euro Swissy. Again, like most of the pairs that I've spoken about today, we've got a strong level at which we find price, and price is bang on that. That is the current market price, right? And you can see it's bang on that former support, former resistance level over here. Interestingly, we haven't closed below that, and in fact, price has rejected anything below that level. That tends to suggest to me that we'll be looking for a bounce here. But how far will that bounce go? Because look at this level here. It's pretty much dead ahead. And is it as strong as the one that precedes it? It may be even stronger than the one that precedes it. So I don't see any real upside here for me. I would prefer to trade this short. And the daily chart's giving me the indication on Thursday and Friday that we had a key reversal bar here, this one, followed by an inside bar here, this one. So I'd be really interested, if there's no gap in the market in the morning, placing a short underneath that bar, stop loss above that bar there. So to me, this is a short down to the monthly pivot. May not go any further than that, but if we can take advantage of that, I think we've got a reasonable trade to take. So basically trading that bar there, but I would put my entry underneath this one and my stop loss above that one. So there you go. It's a little bit topsy-turvy, I've got to say, but I feel that those currency pairs that I've looked at are definitely at what we call inflection points, and definitely worth watching for the next day or so.
Cheers, Geoff. Thank you very much for that. That wraps up the technical part of the show for today. If I can say a couple of things, and as we wind this up, which maybe Mike will leave out of the recordings, it's a little bit harder for us to directly answer questions, guys. If we're going to cut these sections up and have them go out as separate shows, then answering questions from another section becomes quite tricky. And we'll have a look at how to do that. Geoff, direct flights Auckland Hobart coming in a month, mate.
Yes, mate. I'm off to the mainland probably before I can go to the Kiwi land, but certainly thereafter I'll be in. Prepare yourself. Gird your loins.
Mate, I am. I'm going to leave my loins, but mate, I am very much looking forward to seeing you here. Guys, that winds up our show for this week. It's been a hell of a week, and certainly look forward to a better one next week. Everybody, wish you well. Take care. Have a good week. And remember, guys, stay calm and make good decisions, and it all sorts itself out. Have a good week, and we will see you guys for the show next week and during the week, no doubt. And a number of other shows. We've got Geoff and Ash in Trading Buddies Monday to Thursday. We've got Gordon in on Monday night with another guest. There is a lot of content coming up. Keep an eye on the new Telegram channel. Jump in the new Telegram, not the new Telegram channel. Jump in the new Telegram channel to get all the updates on all of the shows. Thank you, team. You've been amazing as always. Take care, and we'll see you guys all next week.